Sourdough bread making has become the sleeper hobby of the summer as more people are spending time at home and in their kitchens. So I guess you can call Madison's Mo Cheeks a trendsetter. He took up that hobby all the way back in January before the pandemic started. Now he's turned it into something much bigger heading into the fall. Mo is with us this morning. Hi, Mo.
Hey, how are you? Thanks for having me.
Good. It's so nice to talk to you in this capacity. So folks at home might recognize your face and your name. You served on Madison City Council for 6 years, but now you are a baker. I'm giving you that title. You've earned it. Talk about how you got into this hobby. When did you took up baking in January? Why?
That's right. So I started baking early in the year, honestly, just because I had so much more free time, no longer being on the council or anything like that. Felt like I needed to develop a new hobby, and I had a friend in DC who I was visiting, and they gave me some starter. And it wasn't the first time I tried to start making sourdough, but anyway, brought it back safely through TSA, which was only slightly awkward, and then started making sourdough. And then once COVID started, it seemed like everybody was making sourdough bread, and so I figured I would just stick with it, and it was became a very therapeutic hobby for me.
Yeah, kneading the dough can do that. Spending time in your kitchen is certainly a safe hobby too. But then you started making the bread and giving it away to other people. I know that you have an Instagram page now. How did you come up with that idea, and what's the meaning behind that?
Yeah, so so I started just the new Instagram just to document my progress of making bread. It was frankly like kind of for my own purposes, like sort of journaling. But again, baking bread was an important sort of therapeutic thing, sort of like mental health thing for myself as we were wrestling with social and racial injustice in our country. And, that's sort of like weighs heavy on me on a daily basis, as well as, COVID. So I thought, as I'm making this bread and as I'm having fun with it, I'll start giving it to people. And so I had some friends who had recently had babies, and I started delivering it to them on a regular basis, just as like a nice gesture. And that kept a progression of weekly bread development for me for the past, 6 months or so.
And so you initially started, you were just making about 4 loaves, and the last I talked to you, you were up to about 24 or 25 loaves. So you've really skyrocketed your production. And so now you take orders from people on Instagram, and you ask for not that much money, and some people chip in more, and you help donate that money to other local organizations. So what do you do? What organizations benefit most from your money?
Yeah, so people had started asking if I would sell my bread, and it felt like more of a hobby than a business. But when Bakers Against Racism started a bake sale a few weeks ago, they wanted to encourage bakers all across the country to bake their baked goods, make them available, and donate proceeds to organizations that were fighting for justice and specifically civic justice. So this was the bake sale was called Bake the Vote, and so I decided that this would be my reason for starting to actually try to sell the bread. So we sold 20, I think you're right, 25 loaves of bread. $8 each. People just DM'd me on Baking Mo, and then paid by Venmo. But importantly, we raised over $300 as part of the Bakers Against Racism action, and donated all those proceeds to the ACLU of Wisconsin and Black Votes Matter. So it was really exciting to be able to tell people that they were not only enjoying delicious, healthy bread that I made with my own hands, but they were folks decided to buy it because they wanted to be part of making it easier for people to be able to vote.
Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you for continuing to give back to our community, Mo. We're almost out of time, but just really quick, I wanted to get your piece of advice for anyone at home who might be watching this and is considering taking up bread making or perhaps a different hobby. What should they know before getting started?
Specifically with sourdough, I'd say there's lots of good resources on the internet. Feel free to DM me on Instagram at Baking Mo. But you can also just Google and find good resources. Creating a starter is not very hard. It just takes patience. Really, the name of the game with sourdough is patience. I think people sometimes get intimidated by the perfection of it all, but at the end of the day, you're going to have bread, no matter how it looks. You just have flour, water, salt, and a little starter. You're going to make yourself some nutritious bread that's going to be healthier than just about anything you can buy at the store. So I would encourage people to try it and ask me if you have any questions. I'm happy to help. I've been helping other people. The baking community is really generous. A lot of people have helped me.
Okay, you're feeding people's bodies, you're feeding your own mind when you're building it, and you're helping our community succeed as well through your generous donations. Thanks so much for talking to us this morning, Mo.
My pleasure.
Have a great day.
Cheers.